Well, in Afghanistan right now, the economic conditions are what you would describe as horrible. At least 2.5 million Afghan villagers are essentially without food. Over the past 2 years, in some areas, 80% of the crops have been lost to drought, and in some areas, 100%. So what you had to begin with, and Americans have to understand this is a country of villages and poor people. They were subsistence level. Now, many of them are under subsistence level, which means they don't have anything, they don't even have crops. They can't go out and pick a piece of corn or whatever to eat. So what they're doing is they're resorting to kind of some strange things. One of the more devastating things is they're starting to sell their children. Fathers are selling their daughters basically to older men who want to get married. But the U.S. State Department has clearly come out in a report saying that what's happening to a lot of these young girls is they're being used for sex exploitation, getting into the sex slavery trade, and actually some of them they're being killed and their organs are being sold for the high price that you can get for organs on the market. So this is a horrible situation, and Afghanistan has been under the Soviet regime. After that, they were under the Taliban regime, and now we have an occupied force of Americans in there. So this country is beleaguered and is crying out for help. Well, something needs to be done about it. President Bush now has pledged to spend $10.5 billion of taxpayer money to rebuild Afghanistan. And what we saw in Iraq was, and numerous reports are coming out now, that a lot of that money that supposedly goes into contracting and rebuilding does not happen. It either goes into somebody's pocket, the projects aren't built, so there's a lot of graft and theft, and congressional investigations are going into that. I think if we're going to send money over there at this point in time, we need to send it to people with the need. I think that the American troops, some of those occupying American troops, can be used for humanitarian relief. They can go into the villages and hand out food and clothing and make sure in the cold Afghan winters that these people have food and clothing. We can send in agricultural experts. Let's get their crops back up. The key thing here is that democracy starts at the kitchen table. People are not going to be worried about democracy or anything. They're not going to be worried about freedom in the political sense unless they have food and they have full stomachs. So we need to start there. Europeans, when they come to this country, invariably say, America is the great Christian country. So my challenge to Americans is this. Let's start acting like Christians. Let's have compassion. As for Christians, and Christ taught in the Bible, when people need help, we're supposed to go out and help them. If someone's fallen by the wayside, we're there to help them and give compassion. If a country needs compassion right now, if there's ever been a country, that's Afghanistan. So I would say, let's put some money in there in terms of food, clothing, medical relief, and some experts, and let's help get these people back on their feet. We forget that Hezbollah and other terrorists go into some of these villages and give food and medicine and help, and the villagers start liking them. America has a terrible self-image across the world. If we just want to be selfish and say we want to increase our self-image, this is the way to do it. Let's be humanitarians and back off of so much occupying and show them that we really care about them.